What's up, everybody? David Bedlin. We're going to react to the live review of the SpiritBorn bullshit today. Hopefully it's not trash. We'll see how it goes. Here's the old trailer that just reviewed about a month ago, 2 months ago now, who knows. Welcome. Just so you all know, they've turned off the live chat for this. I'll prove it to you. Let me move my camera here. Oops.
I'm here.
Live chat is disabled for this live stream. I wonder why. Is it disabled on Twitch?
So proud of you.
Let's see.
But now I need you to give.
Oh, the chat's live on Twitch. Maybe we should switch. You can see all the hilarious comments. It looks better on YouTube, so we'll just stick with YouTube. This trailer was so fucking good. Ooh, which monitor should I watch it on? This one? Or this one? This one? Or this one? 4K, baby. Are they streaming it in 4K? 1440. We can rock with that. What's up, Adam?
Diablo. Welcome to our SpiritBorn showcase, where we're doing
Can't wait.
a deep dive for this all-new class coming to Diablo.
Better not be shit.
Which will include a series of interviews.
There goes my dog.
I'm
Sorry. I tried to mute her out.
Showcase the SpiritBorn for the first time.
Without further ado, let's kick off this deep dive to the SpiritBorn.
I don't really give much of a shit about jungle themes. Oh, here's the fucking shit. Let's go.
My people can become SpiritBorn. As children, the most promising face judgment in the mist.
So it looks like it's gonna be like monk shit
And
or witch doctor.
with pain. Those who are not called
I'll shut up.
are culled. For the weak,
He's got jizz on his knee.
paths end here. For the worthy, that path leads to power beyond compare, and a sacred charge to wield it well. Though the mortal world was designed to break us, our hearts, our minds, our
That's pretty rad.
bodies, there is another which makes us bold. We are without fear.
He's Darth Maul.
Equal. We walk with the ancient guardians of the unformed lands. Their power is our power. Their cause is our cause. We forge
That was pretty cool.
unbreakable bonds in the spirit realm to defeat the horrors of
Is this a minion class?
For we are SpiritBorn.
Okay. Now I'm actually curious. Meh. Whoa. Okay. Suck him in. Some poison damage. I'm not impressed. I'm also not super impressed. That's it. I hope you're showing way more than that.
Wow, and there it is, the first look at the SpiritBorn, the apex predator from the jungle. Awesome to finally show it off, and what an incredible trailer. To talk more about the SpiritBorn,
Trailer's
we'd like
okay.
to introduce Eleni Rivera-Colon, narrative designer on Diablo 4. Welcome, Eleni.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here to talk about the SpiritBorn class. I'm also a little nervous.
It's okay. We're
Me
live.
too.
We're doing this live here for everyone. But obviously, Eleni, we just saw here in the trailer with the SpiritBorn, and we saw a little bit about
That screen they have
spirit
behind them
realm.
is
Can you
huge.
tell us a little bit more about what that spirit realm is?
Yeah, so I mean, to put it plainly, the spirit realm is a place where spirits go. It's this deeply spiritual place that's a byproduct of Sanctuary's creation. So, as you may know, the angels have the high heavens,
Oh,
the demons
Lilith,
have the
I
burning
miss you.
hells, and we have the spirit realm and the
Sorry,
spirits
I had to
from
text my
corruption.
children.
So the spirit SpiritBorn class have this harmonious bond and connection with these massive creatures that are called the Spirit Guardians, and they work together
Creative.
toward the land.
You know, it's awesome to hear about the Spirit Guardians, and you know, people saw them in the trailer a little bit there. Can you actually tell us a little bit more about like
Stop
who
it.
these Spirit Guardians?
Sanctuary's creation,
Where can I
along
get
with
one of these shirts,
this
though?
powerful human belief. And SpiritBorns devote their entire lives strengthening this incredible bond because these Spirit Guardians are powerful.
Their staff
Oh, it's so
above
bright.
their head and
Jesus.
this massive spirit creature forming behind them. And that really became the lightning rod to a lot of thought-provoking ideas.
We don't need the
I mean, we
snake.
knew what we wanted
The
to
fucking
do mechanically
sorcerer
with the
has a big
class,
fire snake.
But
The SpiritBorn class can summon 4 Spirit Guardians. The first one that I want to talk about is Razoka, and this guardian manifests in the form of a jaguar. So the belief of
Razoka?
courage and
You mean
ferocity,
Ahsoka?
striking on
What's-
the hunt,
is-
attacking
are we
a kill
being
with no
creative?
fear or reservations.
No, we're not.
The second one is Balazan, appearing as this massive centipede. The belief is balance and persistence. So although some people might see it as fear, it represents harmony and balance, so the give and take of life. And then we have Quatli. The manifestation of this is a majestic eagle, right? So to represent awareness and finesse,
Majestic?
soaring above it
Oh.
all, having keen awareness of its surroundings, and acting with intent. And then the last one is Woomba. This guardian manifests
That
in
one looks
a
cool.
powerful gorilla, so this beacon of protection and strength, and a movable force that holds its ground and sustains. under
Bro, I'm
pressure.
not shitting on the art.
So it's great because we've
I'm
heard
just-
a little bit about the spirit
just
realm.
chill,
We've heard
bro.
about these.
That
That's some
believed
pretty
in the
good art
human
right there.
experience,
He
and that
looks
it gives
cool.
us this unique power. We have this light within us, and that light gives us the ability to question and to doubt and to challenge. When Akrat made his way to his mother's homeland in Nahantu, he felt this strong otherworldly presence, and he would spend a lot of time with one of his apostles, Isavete, trying to uncover what this mystery was. What was this feeling when he got to the realm, or when he got to the land of Nahantu, until he eventually discovers this veil, and that's the veil between the spirit realm and sanctuary. And he realized that this was this untouched place from
Does it look
neither
familiar?
angels or demons. They had never really had any sort of influence there. So Akrat and his dedicant Isavete would spend a lot of time studying, and he would be the first person and living being to cross this veil. And then after Akrat died, his apostle would then take on the mantle and then found the SpiritBorn traditions that we know today.
You know, hearing about the Spiritborn, and of course, like I'm sure this is a burning question from the community, but the Sanctuary has a long and storied history. Kind of, where have the Spiritborn been throughout all of this?
yeah, so for anybody
They've been
who
being
knows
developed as DLC.
the lore of Diablo, this region is no stranger to Mephisto, right? So if you go back to Diablo 2 and you look at the story there, his original
Shut
soul
up.
stone was imprisoned in this place. And its presence corrupted the Zakarum faith, it corrupted the region.
Gamer subs,
Yeah,
bro.
so like I said
Anime girl
before,
thighs.
this is an untouched realm. It's
It's
pure.
like a
This is something
creamsicle.
so sacred. And with Neyrel coming back with the Soul Stone, this is a huge problem for the people of Nahantu, but specifically the Spiritborn.
In itself.
I like her
You
glasses.
know, we've talked about the new class and how that was created and what they've been up to. Next, we're actually going to take a look at how the art and concepts were designed.
I don't give a fuck about the art. Show more gameplay. What is this, like DVD extras? I don't care about this shit. Ooh, yeah, get it. Get it, boy. What was that spin to win bullshit? Whatever that was looked cool. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
We are now joined by my blood brother, art director Nick Chilano, who is here to show us
Anybody
how the
but
Spiritborn
Rod.
visually came to be.
Brent were talking about, we really want to capture everything they just mentioned from a visual standpoint. So for us, it's about trying to infuse.
I like the picture in the middle the
onto
best.
The spirit realm tagline. That
Don't
the
get me
team
wrong, I
uses,
like all the art and
creating the
concept
living,
art and shit
breathing
like that, but in a
embodiment
video
of the
like this, I
spirit
don't give a shit about it.
Yeah,
I like to
that's
see
really
that at
the, you know,
another
after we get
time.
past that
I want to
initial
see
inspirational
gameplay.
piece,
I
we
want to
want
know
like,
what the
drill
class
down
does. I
into
want to
finding
know what
that
the class
iconic
doesn't
piece.
do.
And so
I want to
bringing
know
it
about
into
its
all of the
abilities. I
iconic
want to
look of that
know
character.
what kind
We
of
wanted
gear
a
it
class
wears.
that,
Concept
but
art's cool, but it's got a
rather
time and a place. And in my
become
opinion, this is not the time
guardian
and the
that
place.
they're all about.
This
And
is
so if
filler.
you're into the
This is fucking
Jaguar, you're
filler
wearing
to
the
me.
Jaguar
A
helmet.
little more on a certain scale.
I always look at
it's
people's
like an epic
glasses
moment.
because I wear
Um,
glasses.
We also
His
want to
glasses are
explore,
cool,
you know,
too.
visually, like visual iconography.
Not
at
as
the same
cool as
time.
mine.
So
This
and-
looks
and
like
skills,
football
We're
gear.
also starting to get into like
Where's my
what is the
mouse?
identity
It's
of
like
the
football
class?
pads.
Where do we want to put this icon?
Go off. and
Look at
their
Homeboy's
craft to make
shoes, dude. These
the
are
best
old
work
school
that they
shoes from like the
possibly can make.
90s.
The sum of all the parts end up with a killer class like the
Love
SpiritBorn.
it. You love to
Collaboration's
see
a big
it.
thing, and you know, silhouette shapes.
The armor looks cool.
One of the interesting things
but
about
like,
this
again,
class
I don't
is
want to
we've
see this
started
shit right now. I want to
recognize
see
that,
gameplay
like,
and
The
stuff.
helms, the gauntlets, the belts were really great places to like hone in on those like visual elements.
They put boobs in Diablo,
and another
guys.
nice thing
We're
is, like,
there. We made
the
it.
armor really started to art style. We're
Why is he
really trying
blurring
to
out his
find the
badge?
best pieces of
What
them
is that?
and seeing where they fit, how
I
can we
gotta know.
manipulate them, how aggression. The centipede is like open palm strikes for applying poisons and unearthing things from the ground.
Okay.
And the eagle is about really precision movements.
When I think
and
about a centipede, I
repositioning on
don't
the
think about
battlefield.
open palm
So, like,
strikes.
they nailed it when it came to that. So visually, we're looking at like, what is the spirit realm? So we have this like kind of bluish white mist. They come in through the veil. That bluish white mist kind of like trails.
The
off of
icons
them,
look cool too. I
becomes
like the
physical.
icons.
The
They're all
Jaguar's
the
now
same fucking
engulfed in
color,
flames,
but-
this spirit guardian. It kills everything on the screen that you can like that's around it, and then it exits through that veil and kind of like transitions into that blue-white mist again. And the art team, they killed it. They did a fantastic
I'm
job.
curious.
Yeah, I gotta give another shout out to the Diablo 4 art team. Absolutely killed it. The SpiritBorn is fantastic. It's great to look at, great to play. But Nick, thank you so much for walking us through the creation of the SpiritBorn.
They have to be careful though, because if all these abilities look like super top tier compared to all the other classes, you're going to be able to tell like the huge difference between not only the creativity but like the time and care that went into it. And you're going to see all the original classes and be like, wow, these are dog shit. What's this? We already seen this, didn't we? Speedy. I like speed. This video that they're using is trash, though. Gameplay deep dive. Let's do it.
We've heard the lore, we've seen the art. Now let's get ready to talk about some gameplay. I know a lot of people are excited to hear more about how this class actually plays. So next up, we have Bjorn Mikkelsen, class designer, on stage to talk about the gameplay for the SpiritBorn. Bjorn is actually here to tell us more about the SpiritBorn's overall class kit and design. And later on, we'll get into some itemization, which I know every fan wants to hear about because itemization is, of course, incredible, especially within Diablo. Bjorn, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I know Bjorn will be a fan favorite here because
Yeah,
he's going to
absolutely.
walk us through all the skills and the gameplay for how it works. So Bjorn, can you kick us off and tell us a little bit about this new class?
Absolutely. So yeah, just like high level, what is this class? Excellent question. So basically what SpiritBorn are, they are these jungle warriors who are empowered by the spirits. They're sort of this dexterity focused class and sort of
Dex.
masters of martial arts and hand-to-hand combat. And so what they do is ultimately all of their actions and their movements, they sort of resonate with the spirits to form sort of these unique combat styles as they're fighting. They sort of mix and match them to hit whatever sort of build they need.
Awesome. So if you are a current Diablo player right now, or let's say I'm a current Diablo player, which I am, I play a lot of rogue.
Most people
bard.
watching this video are not
where
current
would you
Diablo
kind of
video or
place,
players.
the speed and aggression of the SpiritBorn.
Yeah, I would say SpiritBorn is definitely probably our fastest, most aggressive class. It's got multiple gap closers built into its basic attacks. It's got several movement skills, very high damage on those, as well as several ways to upgrade its evade skill as well.
Ooh, okay.
It's all about kind of getting on a target, sticking to it, and killing it.
Awesome. I know we had footage earlier of within the trailer of
Upgrading its
players actually
evade
being
skill.
able-
That could
and we
be
talked about
very
this,
interesting.
Yeah.
Players being able to actually summon in these spirit guardians. So can you just summon a giant jaguar into battle or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, kind of in addition to being these master martial artists, because they're empowered by these spirits, you'll see parts of the spirits, but then ultimately, with the ultimates, the spirits themselves will show up on the battlefield, and they'll empower you and deal damage.
So it's
And
not
it's
a
really
minion
the core of the
class?
fantasy, right? Like
I'm a
if we
bit
talk about power
confused.
fantasy, we're getting a bunch of feedback early on about making ultimates more meaningful.
Yes, please.
And we were actually
They're
able to do
some
that
of them are
with
pretty
this
fucking
class
useless.
ground up.
Awesome. I know people are probably dying to know, like, okay, let's jump into some Spirit Guardians. So I think this is a great opportunity. Maybe we should start off with like the Jaguar being the first one. Bjorn, do you want to take us through the Jaguar itself?
Sure. Yeah, starting off, Jaguar is a great one.
He looks fucking cool, I'm
Jaguar
not gonna
is,
lie.
As we've kind of touched on before, it is sort of this manifestation of just like the hunter. It's exhilaration, it's violence, it's aggression. It's attacking repeatedly.
Okay,
just
I like
constant pressure as
like
it's going.
this.
It's got these
It's
ramping
kinda like
mechanics to it.
Rogue-esque.
It's got lots of kill streaks. Mechanically speaking, the way we've kind of translated this, its primary focus is attack speed, and it chases that through a new keyword and mechanic that we call ferocity. This is a stacking buff that it can generate
What are these
easily
orbs
via
flying
Jaguar
around?
skills.
Oh, those
that
are
will increase
potions.
the attack speed of all of its skills, but it will also enhance other
Don't
Jaguar
mind me.
skills so you can use them more often, reduce their cooldowns, that sort of thing. Moving on to an example, I guess, of a Jaguar skill. First off, here's one we have Ravager. This is a new type of skill we're adding to the game called Incarnate skills. They all have a passive and active effect. This one allows you to maintain your ferocity at just like a minimum level, so you're all just like a little bit fast.
Passive and
But then when you
active
activate it,
effect.
you kind of go full Jaguar mode. It gives you additional attacks, kind of like whenever you hit something, it does an extra strike. So it can even turn like skills that are like deal a little bit less damage, they can now deal extra damage just whenever
Gotta
you
keep
hit
that up
something.
all the time.
Moving on to another skill, we have Rushing Claw. This one is the Jaguar's kind of primary mobility skill. It will dash you through a target and slash everything along the way. And the key to this one is you can kind of use it over and over and over again, like multi-strike your enemies. And then finally, of course, we have the ultimate, the Hunter. This will actually manifest the Jaguar onto the battlefield. You'll leap through the air. It's also a movement skill. And when you land, the Jaguar will destroy everything. And it also has upgrades to kind of help
Do they
chase the
not
kill
understand
streak
that
by.
ultimates should
There's a
feel
chance to reduce
amazing?
a cooldown
It lasts
after you kill something like that.
3 seconds.
Yeah, so your kill streaks
No,
going,
they
and
shouldn't
you're gonna
last
see
a
this
whole
as, like,
minute,
through
but
line
3
that
seconds?
each particular
That's-
guardian will have their own thing.
Yeah,
I mean, I
I'm a
guess.
huge fan of like,
Absolutely. Yeah, moving on to the Gorilla. The Gorilla,
Harambe.
core concept.
How many
behind
times you guys gonna
protecting
hear
the
that
defense.
joke?
But it's not just like passive defense. This is a very active defensive play style where you're shrugging off the damage, but you're also returning it to your attacker. So it's really got this kind of core of like retribution also sort of built into it. Its core mechanic and stat that we work with is damage reduction. It chases us in 2 ways. One is through using block, sort of actively blocking damage, as well as a second new keyword and mechanic called Resolve. This is also a stacking buff, but this one falls off whenever you get hit, so it's really important to keep stacking it and kind of keep stealing yourself and building your Resolve back up, but as long as you have any stacks of it, you get the full damage reduction bonus. So moving on to just a couple examples for Gorilla skills. Starting off, we have Crushing Hand. This is their core spender skill. Kind of just does what it says. Will smash your enemies to pieces. Kind of neat thing about it is it's actually 2 separate attacks that kind of overlap in the middle.
It's called Crushing Hand. Can we see a fucking spiritual fist come down? Where is the fucking creativity here?
This one really leans hard into the sort of aspect of retribution that we have going on. This one will deal a large amount of damage.
This is the shit that frustrates me with this fucking game. If PoE was doing a move like that, you would fucking see a fist.
Also, like as things are hitting you, that will reduce its cooldown. So kind of you have this flow of like being able to sort of like end fights, but also kind of keep hitting as you go. And then finally, again, we have the ultimate skill bringing in the Gorilla itself. The skill is called the Protector. It creates a large protected area on the battlefield that will grant you barrier while you're inside of it, as well as
Would
several
that last
other
2.5
defensive bonuses
seconds?
that you can spec into with it. And the Gorilla will just smash any enemies that try to come and harm you while you're in it.
Yeah, if you like that bruiser archetype, like this is the build for you. It is definitely about that give and take of damage.
I mean, it's
I mean, you
fine
had said it
depending on what the
earlier.
cooldown
Anyone
is.
who's been looking for a tank or a tank-like build in Diablo, this is the one that you're going to want to spec into as a part of your
I
kit.
don't need
yeah, it sounds
tanks
like a really
because
unique
you
way
have a
of being
shit
able to,
social system
especially
and
for
people
tank
don't
players,
party
like,
up.
bring damage
So,
to enemies and stuff like that, which is so awesome. So next onto our
at least
third
in my
guardian,
experience,
of
they
course,
don't.
we have the Eagle. Bjorn, do you want to take us through the
Absolutely.
Eagle?
Yeah, so the eagle, kind of soaring above it all, we've got this guardian that represents
Soaring above it
precision
all.
and accuracy and kind of finesse. Its ability, its freedom of movement, like a lot of the movement that the class has is very aggressive, very in your face, and the eagle really is able to kind of take that to another level and kind of go wherever it wants. In addition to that, it can also sort of
At least you can see
extend
the
its
fucking
attack to
eagle
sort of
in these
pseudo-ranged
moves.
playstyle. Allows it to really like prioritize a target and sort of like hit from anywhere. So its core stat that it cares about is movement speed. That allows it kind of, like I said, able to kind of go anywhere it wants and sort of tactically reposition on the battlefield. And it also has several ways to sort of amplify its evade skill, adding damage, that sort of thing to it. So moving into just a couple examples, we of course have to start off with Soar. This is sort of SpiritBorn's premier mobility skill. Takes you up into the air, out of the battle.
I like that. It looks cool.
Able to dodge mechanics with that if you need to. But also, because the eagle is all about kind of those big impacts as well, it will create a target area where you're going to come down and make those enemies vulnerable so that it just amplifies the damage.
I'm a visual kind of guy. I want to see shit. If you're going to fucking put shit in the game, why not make it look
Razor
good?
Wings. This is a damaging skill for the eagle. This one has kind of this cool back and forth where it sends it out, allows you to hit something at range, but because it also returns to you, it sort of rewards you for the tactical positioning
I like
on
that.
the battlefield, so you can sort of line it up so it'll hit different things.
Kind of like Rogue's.
And then, of course,
you know what I mean.
Ultimate skill, the Seeker, bringing in the eagle itself to just annihilate your enemies with damage. You can cast it anywhere on the battlefield. It charges up and then blasts off. The blast can be upgraded to be a guaranteed critical strike.
These guys like
While it's on
circles,
the
don't
battlefield,
they?
it will also make everything vulnerable for you. This is also like one of the first ultimates that we have.
I'm
which will have multiple
unimpressed.
Charges, so you can kind of use it back to back or like prioritize a target with it, and there's like a lot of player agency with that.
Make
Yeah,
the
this
circle
is really
bigger
for
at
that
least.
tactical
Fuck.
player. Where positioning
It's an
is
ultimate.
super important. You
It looks
don't
like a joke.
necessarily want to be constantly in the fray, so you still want to output that damage. Maybe you want to put it in a particular place in the encounter, but you can do it by going in and then you can get right back out. So for those players who really like that tactical positioning, that's what the eagle is for.
Yeah, it seems like the eagle gives you
Who the
that
fuck is
extra
at my
freedom
house?
of like in mobility, so you can kind of move in and out, especially with things like Soar, which is sick to see for sure.
It's one of my
So
favorites.
unique. for
Razor wings
Diablo
are cool.
4,
I like that.
for sure on that end. Last but not least, of course, this is probably our most unique Spirit Guardian, and probably one that I'm sure a lot of people are like looking at and going like, oh, this has got to be crazy, and that is the centipede. So Bjorn,
I have to be honest with you, it looks fucking
Yeah, so
disgusting.
moving to the
I'm not going to
centipede.
touch it.
The centipede's very unique. It represents this sort of abstract concept of the cycle of life and death, and the way we've kind of chosen to interpret that is that it's sort of this epicenter of attrition, but it's also like really about
I don't
just
like
kind of
centipedes and spiders. Fuck
this
no fucking way.
endless or inescapable sort of persistence, and that's like really bad for your enemies, but kind of really good for you. So its core mechanics that it works with that persistence is damage over time, poisoning, crowd controls, that sort of thing, but then it uses those things to sort of empower and sustain itself, so also like leeching life and that sort of
I
thing
could see
back
how
to
this
you,
could
so
be really
draining
good,
your
though.
enemies as you kill them. So moving on to just a quick example, Stinger is our core skill for the centipede. This one does a large amount of damage in a small area in front of you, but the sort of interesting thing about it is that damage will also echo out to any nearby poisoned enemies. So it kind of has this adaptive, like dynamic range that it has, sort of depending on like how much you've been spreading your poisons around the field. So it can like basically like hit the whole screen if you really want
That
to.
could be fun.
Another skill example that we have would be Scourge. Scourge kind of takes that sort of like oppressive control that
fear?
the centipede has, and it will fear and it will slow
We
and
don't
poison
need
enemies and
fears
sort of
in-
disrupt any kind of like strategies they might have going on, and just sort of allow you to turn the tables on them. And then finally, we have the ultimate skill, bringing in the centipede itself onto the battlefield. This is the Devourer. Poison laser beams, globs of poison everywhere. Just the centipede kind of wrecking the entire battlefield. It's got upgrades which will also allow it to
I have
instantly
to be honest with you,
execute
that
enemies
looks
who have been fully poisoned, sort of
so fucking
helping the
lame.
cycle of life and death to speed up a little bit there.
Yeah, this is clearly our most Diablo Guardian that we have. It's becoming a fan favorite very quickly. The people who have gotten a hands-on with it have a lot to say about it.
I don't see why.
But the the field,
That
keep
ultimate
that
needs
damage
work.
up, and
A
keep that
straight
resilience
laser.
going. This is
I think one big question that probably a lot of people have is, are you kind of forced to go down one of these? Or can
Yeah,
you
I was just
actually
gonna
do some
ask, can
mix
you
and
pick
match, or how does
multiple
that work?
You know,
from-
freedom of choice is really important for this class. So if you want to go all in on one of them, go for it. Like, there's no problem in doing that. There's benefits that you can see from it. But there's also benefits from mixing and matching.
Okay,
Like,
good, because that would have
we
been a huge
wanted
dog shit decision if you could
adaptability
only
and
do one at a
hybridization
time.
to be at the
Ugh.
core.
If
I
you're
don't
looking
know,
to get more
man.
healing
I
into your
much
build, you can
rather
add
would
some
have had a
Centipede, you can add some
Paladin or a
Jaguar,
Crusader.
Mix them together, you can make an entire build about healing that is Centipede and Jaguar. These aren't like
I'm
prescribing ways
curious.
to build, but they're more so just like
I'm
they're
still not
overlapping
buying the
stats,
expansion
that allow
as
them
of
to
right
sort of
now.
communicate with each other.
I'm not buying
So
it.
just a couple examples. Weaker and
Again,
Eagle's all
I can
about, like,
see
kind of
how this
finding
would
those
be
weak points
fun,
and like
but-
getting these high damage, bursts off. So when you add those two together, they both care about vulnerable and sort of like turning the tables on all of your
And keep in mind,
enemies.
this is
And
all
so
just my opinion.
Adding that together kind of creates this character that's
Doesn't
sort of
mean
able
anything.
to like prioritize me, but this one really allows it
What
to
the
sort of
fuck
like
is that?
extend its range, hit multiple enemies, as well as apply your thorns over an area. And then thirdly, we have an example of one of our sub-powers. This one's called a Pestilent Swarm. The cool thing that we're kind of trying to out with each of our sub-powers is there are multiple legendaries for them, and they sort of allow you to customize how they work. So there's like one that'll let your Pestilent Swarm like poison enemies, one that'll make it spiral, one that'll even make it orbit. You can sort of like combine those, like you can have it orbit and spiral, or poison. You can just have it shoot off, kind of whatever
Spread
works for
the
your build.
disease.
We really want people to be able to experiment and play with those sub-powers. And then just a couple of teasers, some of our uniques. These are some unique boots that basically allow you to override your evade skill with soar, just get the ultimate
That's cool.
amount of mobility you can think of. The neat thing about that is also that it allows you potentially like to take soar off your bar. You can't let it go, but
Perfect.
at least kind of get to keep it with you in that evade slot.
Wish you'd do that for barbarians
And then another
and
example
all their
would be our
shouts.
unique quarterstaff, which is one of the two weapons we're adding with the SpiritBorn. This one sort of allows you to ramp up your basic attacks. SpiritBorn's basic attacks are a little bit special. They're kind of really cool. They're these 3-hit combos, and each third hit does like a special thing.
That's a
and
cool
this
unique.
specific unique basically lets you get that third attack all the time. So then we have to take their third attack and make it a triple version that almost turns them into a different skill entirely.
I love it.
Yeah, this is awesome. Seeing all the. Now we're gonna bring back everyone to get into our Q&A for all things SpiritBorn.
Oh, the Q&A where they pick questions that are absolutely stupid. Let's go. Maybe we'll get some good ones. Shit, dude. Oh. Boobs in Diablo. I feel like this little music video they made here is more creative than their ultimates. Boom, I said it.
Now we're ready for our community Q&A, where we'll answer your burning questions for all things SpiritBorn. If you
Can't
have
wait.
questions, again, please drop them in Twitch chat, and we'll try to get through as many as possible.
You
through
ain't
the
doing
whole
this
entire Q&A
live. Come
process.
on, stop
Guys,
it.
for joining. One big question that everyone always asks, and I know we've probably seen it a million times in chat already, is like, hey, we have the SpiritBorn. This is a brand new class. Why not something like a class from a prior game, like a paladin? Or
Yeah,
Yeah, right out of the gate.
yeah.
right out of the gate.
A paladin.
You know, when we started off, one of the key things that were really important to us was to make sure that the class came from the place that we were going. We also knew that, you know, we did a really
PR
good
answer.
job of revisiting classic archetypes like the barbarian and the necro. And so we were in this position where doing something new was a great opportunity. It was
It's not really that
something
new,
that
dude.
allowed
Have you
us
seen
to
the Witch
inject
Doctor and the
some
Monk?
fresh gameplay in, and going after
You've
the
kinda, like, mixed the two
SpiritBorn was
together.
a wider palette to play with, and so making sure that we were building something from the ground up from Nahantu was really the driving factor of this, and we're very proud of where we landed at today.
Awesome. Another question that this is everyone. This is the first time you guys are explaining. This is everyone's favorite moment where I butcher Twitch names like no other. But
We forgive you,
Art
Adam.
Phoenix
We like you.
asks, wait, the lore. Like, where have the Spiritborn been in D3, D2? Why are they not fighting Mephisto themselves?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it before. Like,
Because
this
there
is
wasn't an opportunity for
a
DLC.
religion that has been building up over time. They're a little more secluded, and really one of the things that we looked at is like the early exploration of Akrat, right?
Yeah.
Like,
An expansion
there wasn't
pack
much development that was
is
going
not
in, so that
DLC.
was like a
It's
new
not.
frontier for us to work
Do you
with.
pay for
Yeah,
it?
and in
You
general, the
download it?
Spiritborn, which you'll notice
it
when you do
content?
play the game, they are very scattered throughout
Gotcha.
Nahantu. It's not like they have this massive presence where you walk in and you're like, there they are. You know, it's like a little different than that. They're hidden, they're in the jungle, and they don't necessarily want to be seen. And this has sort of been
It's a
the
different
idea
kind of
this entire
DLC, I
time.
suppose.
It takes a
but
lot
it's
of
DLC.
devotion to be a Spiritborn. This isn't something that you can hop in and out of. So when we talk about being a Spiritborn, these are people who have devoted their entire lives to be doing this one thing, and that's what they're doing in Nahantu. They're not exploring really.
I know we've actually gotten a few questions about this specifically. This is a pretty good question for Bjorn and Nick, because a lot of people have noticed, like, hey, quarterstaff and new weapons. Like, what are the new weapon types for Spiritborn specifically?
Sure.
Double sabers.
Yeah. Spiritborn's bringing 2 new weapons with it. First off, we have the glaive, kind of its premier weapon that you see in all the key art.
I like
that's
it.
really the weapon for like a hunter. It's great for like taking down priority enemies. It's got built-in elite damage, that sort of thing. And then the second weapon we're adding is the quarterstaff. This is a faster weapon that they can use to even sort of like add like block chance and that sort of thing to it. So it's almost like a little bit of a pseudo defensive weapon, but it's also got very high attack speed.
Yeah, from
Cool.
a fantasy standpoint, it was really cool to like try to create weapons that made sense for, again, like Brent mentioned, like where the class is from. So like, you know, a glaive makes a lot of sense for like cutting through the jungle, you know, being an aggressive weapon, being an attack-based weapon.
Could have been bows. Thank God it's not
quarterstaff's really cool
bows.
because it's like,
Because it
you could
doesn't really
imagine,
fit, right?
like, how do they train with this? They probably found like really strong branches from like trees that were really important to them.
Yeah.
And they start to like train with that, and eventually they kind of start to perfect.
Then they
that
watched
craft and that
episode
little
1
staff.
and they
So
saw Darth
there's a lot of
Maul
really
and they're
cool
like,
fantasy stuff that, like,
fuck.
our team can really dig into.
It also looks cool.
Yeah,
like,
there's
like
that.
just to be frank, like if we're talking about a martial arts class, like
Yeah.
having the bow staff or the glaive to like really extend some of those key poses that we got with the martial arts stuff that we put into the game. I mean, it looks really good.
It does look cool.
Yeah,
I like
it's awesome to see like new weapons for the Spiritborn with Vessel of Hatred. So another question that we have here, this is from Bucko351. Easy name. Question, what's the difference between the Spiritborn and the Druid class? The Druid class currently has bonds with,
Dude,
like,
is
the
this a
stag,
real
the
question?
wolf, the eagle, and the
You don't
snake.
see the
Like,
difference,
what's,
bro?
kind of
I would
changes
skip this
between
fucking
that and something
question.
like the Spiritborn?
Yeah, I mean, when it
This
comes
feels like a
to
plant.
the
This
Spiritborn,
question was
you're not
intentional
necessarily turning into
to get on this fucking stream.
Animal that we're talking about. This is a spirit guardian that
This is
lives in the
pre-recorded,
spirit
right?
realm, and
This
you're
doesn't seem
channeling
live to me.
this spirit guardian. And the manifestation that we're talking about is what comes out. So when we talk about like ferocity or something, that's something that you see in the jungle, right? So you have this jaguar that's recognizable, and that's this manifestation. It's the best way to show that. So if we had a different belief, then it would manifest in a different way. Versus the druid, you sort of really encompass the entire animal.
And you see that in the gameplay quite a bit, where I think, Nick, you were mentioning before, where it's like, yeah, I have this bond with the centipede. When I call him in, I call the centipede in to deal with this side of the combat, and then I go off and I start managing the other side of the combat. So you really see this like combat partnership between the Guardians and the Spiritborn, which is incredibly unique.
Is it
we got a
unique?
question here from Cat the Dewey.
It's not.
They're asking, we've seen 4 Spirit Guardians. Are there other Spirit Guardians that were considered potentially?
Yeah, I
Can do that with my
look, I'll
golem.
spill
It's not
the beans
unique.
about it. You know, when we're choosing the spirits, we played around with a lot of concepts. Super abstract stuff that weren't animal-based, We talked about, okay, if I'm from
I'm
the
not being a
jungle,
dick,
these
it's
things
true.
would probably represent things I know,
It-
which brought us to
okay,
animals.
buddy.
And when we think about protection and strength, we originally had some conversations around an elephant. Like, what does an elephant mean? If there's a animal that represents like family and protection the most, the elephant is one of those. The gorilla was also being talked about at the same time, and they mean the same thing. So when we looked at them side by side, that really came down to like which one can convey the best powers, what gives you the right movement and visuals that you would need for the power set itself.
Yeah.
So
You had
Yeah,
an
I was
elephant
gonna say,
swing
yeah.
its trunk
we
and
spent
like
a lot of time
sweep a whole
trying to
group
figure
of
out, like,
shit. That'd be
There's a lot of
cool.
collaboration.
Big
And sometimes
stun.
art will inform design, design will inform art. So I think this is a great spot where, like Brian was saying, like we're looking at a lot of different things, but like when you think about Nahantu, when you think about like the canopy of the jungle, and you start thinking about how does that protect what's in the jungle, like the gorilla.
know
just
who's the
made a
king of
lot
the
sense,
fucking
like,
jungle?
Thematically. So like we start to find
lion.
those moments, right? And you think about the centipede, it's like there's like the ground and the roots of the jungle, like what comes up, there's insects. So we spend a lot of time like exploring that.
Nobody
but
thinks of
when you think about
insects
the
when you
gameplay
think of the
connection,
jungle.
Poisons,
Well, maybe.
fears, right? The centipede,
Maybe
with this
you
like
do.
life and death kind of
My
cycle we
bad.
talked
I
about,
take
like,
that back.
The centipede makes a lot of sense. So we really start to try to connect the dots in really interesting ways. And those
But I
are the
wouldn't
ones that
think of a
really stick.
centipede.
fictionally, the idea that these things are created based on human beliefs, we believe in more than four things, right? So the idea that we could expand this out well beyond the class, we've developed more lore than you're actually going to see in the game for the SpiritBorn, because we want this thing to live beyond just Diablo 4.
Awesome. I know we this one's a little bit for Bjorn. We'll test his skill knowledge here, but a question from Churney Fire was, does the echoing poison effect work on enemies not poisoned by you? Is there like a radius limit?
Good
like, how does it
question.
work specifically?
Yeah, there's a small radius limit to it, but that can be extended through things like tempering and that sort of thing. It will do any poisoned enemies on the screen.
Oh, nice. That sounds crazy. So yeah, and then we have a question from Crawling Out of the Spiral. This one's a lore question specifically. Did Mephisto know about the veil between Sanctuary and the Spirit Realm, and like the corruption within the jungles during Diablo 2? Like, was he able to sense it during that time? I know we had talked about like the Spirit Realm being this pure and like untouched place. So
Somebody sent him a memo.
Yeah, we can definitely assume that Mephisto knew there was something there. When it comes to the lore of Nahantu, there are a lot of protection that happened during Mephisto's corruption. He wasn't able to break through the veil, so that is something that, that's why it's so dire now. But definitely he had this feeling for sure.
Question for not MVP. How does the resource for the SpiritBorn work? Do they generate it like passively?
Good question.
Or how does
You
that
didn't
work
get to really see that.
Sure. The SpiritBorn's primary resource is called Vigor. It does not inherently recharge passively. You'll generate it by using your basic attacks.
Oh, God,
but sort of like the
why?
key with SpiritBorn being very customizable, like one of the first choices that you'll be able to make in your tree with your basic attacks is you can sort of like
Why?
customize like how you will build the spirit beyond that, whether it's like by poisoning enemies or by blocking damage, that sort of thing, to really like kind of make the resource work the way you want it to work. And then later on, there are also some uniques that will allow you to further customize sort of like
I don't
how
like
you build
to
influences for resource
generate
generation.
my fucking
Awesome. I know people, we just talked about the
resource.
weapons and stuff, and there's like follow-up questions of like, are the SpiritBorn only using two-handed weapons for this class?
Yes.
The short answer.
Yes. They are. The other question that we're getting is, is there like a special quest for before you can actually start a SpiritBorn or create a SpiritBorn? Are there quests that are maybe specific to the class itself?
Yeah, well, we're going to definitely be introducing the class mechanic similarly to the way that we introduced it with the other classes. As far as the beginning of the story is concerned, we really want to jump straight into continuing the chapter of hatred, right? Like what happened when Nayrel left. We want to jump right into it, get right back into the story. And so we're going to pick up from the perspective where Nayrel left off.
Awesome. That was a question from Megara. I forgot to throw out the name. I do want to give people shout outs when they do actually ask the names. The Grimknot asks, does the SpiritBorn have ties maybe with the Witch Doctor in any type of way from Diablo 3?
Not at all.
Not at
when
all.
Brent is talking about creating something new, that's what we wanted to do with the SpiritBorn.
It's not that new.
That
It's
also
Witch
meant
Doctor
really
and
diving
fucking
into
Monk
lore and
rolled
figuring
into
out,
one.
a
We're not
separation
stupid.
for freshness. We wanted to still bring in things that were familiar from D2 and just lore in general that we know about.
Jesus
but
Christ.
when it comes to the SpiritBorn class and the traditions of the SpiritBorn, they're very new. You get a chance to explore it in the game, and you'll see that they're very different.
Was that his question? Were they
Azeron
similar?
Blood Moon
Yes, they are
asks,
similar.
how much
If
of
I
is
misunderstood the
monk
question,
inspired
then
into the
forgive me.
gameplay of the SpiritBorn?
You know, it's we always look back and we can find like a lot of reference, or we could be inspired by things we've made. But I think when you play the class, you'll see it's extremely different. It's so unique, it's so fresh, and it kind of carves its own space in our kind of lineup that after an inspirational point, maybe of looking at like martial arts at just the core, it just kind of goes off in its own direction and kind of redefines that space.
We're gonna. Oh, sorry. Go. No,
well,
no. Go. No.
well,
Go
I
ahead.
definitely want to add to that. Is like I don't want to be shy about the fact that we know what works mechanically in the game, and so we're constantly looking at inspiration for the existing classes,
I'm
for
getting
the new
frustrated.
classes on what works best.
Mhm.
Take that inspiration and then like take a right turn and actually amplify it or take it into a slightly new direction that makes it very different.
I know we have time for one more question. This is a question for everyone here. What is everyone's favorite spirit? I've already revealed mine, which is Jaguar. But like, what is everyone's favorite spirit guardian here for the SpiritBorn?
I mean, I can start. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna say 2. I love the Jaguar as well, but it's just a little bit too chaotic for me, like inherently. And so I love to just like mix the Eagle in there as well, just for a little bit more control, a little bit more.
I'm
like,
probably
freedom.
gonna do Jaguar,
Gorilla. I mean,
and Eagle
when
too.
I saw it show up
Little
on
mix.
screen, beat its chest, and it was just awesome. It was like, that's it.
I knew it.
That's the
We're like wrestling buds, you know, where we talk about wrestling all the time. I'm not surprised Nick is about like the gorilla. Not surprised.
My favorite guardians are Quatley the eagle and Balazon the centipede. I just love the poison and it's sick. Like it looks crazy.
Yeah, for me, Jaguar, like it started with that iconic piece. Yeah, sorry.
One
we're gonna have to
person
share
likes
a
the
little bit.
centipede.
Hold on a second.
But like the movement, it's such a pace changer for the game. Like once you get into it, it's got a very addictive flow, and so I'm all in on the Jaguar.
Well, it's awesome to hear everyone's favorite Spirit Guardians. I do want to thank you all for jumping in for this Q&A. Before we do close out the stream, we did want to let everyone know that we'll be sharing more about Vessel of Hatred at Gamescom this year on August 20th.
Okay, cool. Well, I have something to say. He asked about the resource and if it had abilities to like charge it up, or if it just kind of you have to generate it with other abilities, is what I'm trying to say. And it's generator spender. I know Hog's gonna love that because he hates that shit. I hate it too. It's fucking old. It's archaic. It's so 1999. Why do we have to generate before we'll generate with shit moves that we don't even want to use, which just take up space on our bar, and then you can use the cool shit and you can probably hit it like 2-3 times before your resource is gone again, and then you have to generate more resource to use the move you want to use. It's fucking stupid. It takes up space on your bar that you'd rather have for something else. Why are we still doing the gen spender? Why are we still doing the gen spender? I can't stand it. It's so fucking dumb. I have to tell you guys, I'm not looking as far as this expansion goes, I'm not looking fucking forward to it. And the gen spend is old, and I'm what was I saying? This expansion, I'm not buying it so far. I need to know more. This SpiritBorn one single class is not going to make me buy an expansion. It's especially when the class I'm not super interested in. The ultimates look stupid. They had a little like music video with how they were doing all the animations and shit. And that little music video was probably 65,000 times more creative than the ultimates that they gave this character. So I'm just not into it. And that's not me shitting on it. That's me giving you my honest opinion. I'm always going to do that. I'm not going to shill for anybody. This Path of Exile 2 and Diablo's expansion come out around the same fucking time. And I know PoE 2 is going to be free to play. But if they have supporter packs, or maybe a cosmetic that I like, I'm giving my money to Path of Exile 2. I am not giving my money to fucking Diablo 4. Not until I know more. Are they going to put in better social systems, better clan systems, dungeon finder, so you can roll with a fucking group of people and not have to spam trade chat and talk to stupid people who are just there to be assholes and trolls? Is there going to be... I heard something maybe about raids. Is that coming? I need to know more. And until then, I'm not fucking buying it. This was not highly disappointing, but definitely disappointing. That's, again, these are just my opinions, so take that for what it's worth, which is nothing. I'm not impressed. This game continues to let me down and be disappointing. And that's sad for a big, giant IP like Diablo. Very sad. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time.